The stars stretched across the darkness like scattered diamonds. The merchant ship called Wandering Star moved slowly through the empty space between planets. Inside the ship, Captain Eleanor Reeves sat in her command chair and watched the screen in front of her. Everything looked normal. Everything looked safe. Elena was a small woman with short black hair and tired eyes. She had been flying cargo ships for 15 years. The Wandering Star was old but reliable. The ship carried medical supplies to the outer colonies. People needed these medicines. People were waiting for them. "Captain, we're making good time," said Chen, the navigation officer. He was young and always smiled. "We should reach New Hope Colony in 3 days." Elena nodded. "Good. Those settlers need these supplies before winter comes." The crew of 12 people worked quietly. Some checked the engines. Others watched the ship's systems. Everything was peaceful. They had traveled this route many times before. Nothing bad ever happened here. But Elena felt something wrong. She could not explain it. A cold feeling moved down her back. Years of flying through space had taught her to trust these feelings. "Chen, run a deep scan. Check for any ships nearby," she said. "Sure, Captain." Chen touched the controls. The screen changed. Lines of data appeared. Then Chen's smile disappeared. "Captain, I'm picking up something." Multiple contacts. They're big. Before Elena could respond, the lights on the bridge turned red. An alarm screamed through the ship. The screens showed 3 large ships appearing around them. They had been hiding somehow. Now they revealed themselves. The ships were black and covered in sharp edges. They looked like metal insects. Lights glowed red on their surfaces. These were not human ships. "These were alien ships. They're targeting us," Chen shouted. "Raise shields. Turn us around," Elena ordered. Her hands gripped the chair, but it was too late. Blue light shot from the alien ships. The Wandering Star shook violently. Sparks flew from the control panels. The lights went out for a moment. When they came back on, everything was red. "Shields down." "Engines are dead," called out Marcus from the engineering station. That was some kind of EMP weapon. It fried our main systems. The ship was now floating helpless in space. Elena felt her stomach turn. She had heard stories about alien raiders, but humans had never fought these particular aliens before. A face appeared on the main screen. It was not human. The creature had 4 eyes arranged in a square pattern. Its skin was gray and covered in scales. When it opened its mouth, Elena saw 3 rows of sharp teeth. "Human vessel," the alien said. Its voice sounded like metal grinding. "I am Commander Vexcal of the Gentar Collective. Your ship is now our property. Your cargo belongs to us. You will surrender immediately." Elena stood up. Her heart was beating fast, but she kept her voice steady. "This ship is carrying medical supplies. People will die without them. Let us pass." Vexcal made a sound that might have been laughter. "Your weakness disgusts us. We have watched your kind. You are soft, fragile. You send unarmed ships through space like children playing games. Today you learn the price of weakness." "We are not weak," Elena said. Her jaw was tight. "Prove it," Vexcal said. "Oh, you cannot. Your engines are dead. Your weapons are pathetic. You are insects before the Gentar Collective. We will take what we want. Then we will take you. You will serve as examples to the other soft species in this galaxy." Elena looked at Chen. She looked at Marcus. She saw fear on their faces. But she also saw anger. Humans did not like being called weak. "Chen," Elena said quietly. "The emergency beacon. Can you activate it?" Chen's fingers moved across his controls. He worked quickly but carefully. "I can try. It uses a separate power system. The EMP might not have reached it. Do it. Send everything you can. Our location. These aliens. Everything." "Captain, they'll detect the signal," Chen warned. "Let them," Elena said. "Send it now." Chen pressed the controls. For a moment, nothing happened. Then a small light turned green on his panel. "Beacon is active. The message is transmitting on all quantum frequencies." On the screen, Vexcal's 4 eyes narrowed. "Clever human. You called for help, but help will not come in time. We are jamming your communications now, and we are going to teach you what happens to species who resist the Gentar." The Wandering Star shook again. This time it was not weapons. It was clamps. The alien ships were attaching themselves to the hull. "They're boarding us," Marcus said. His voice shook. Elena reached under her chair and pulled out a small gun. Other crew members did the same. These were not military weapons. They were just simple pistols for emergencies. but they were better than nothing. Everyone, fall back to the medical bay. We make our stand there, Elena ordered. The crew moved quickly. They could hear the aliens cutting through the airlock doors. Metal screamed as it was torn apart. Heavy footsteps echoed through the ship's corridors. Then the aliens appeared. They were tall, nearly 7 feet. They carried weapons that looked deadly. Their scales reflected the red emergency lights. They moved like hunters who had done this many times before. The fight was short. The humans fired their small guns. They hit a few aliens, but the Gentar were wearing armor. The bullets bounced off. The aliens fired back with weapons that shot blue energy. The crew members fell one by one. Elena was one of the last to go down. She managed to shoot one alien in the face before an energy blast hit her in the chest. The pain was terrible. She fell to the floor. Everything went dark around the edges of her vision. When she could see again, she was lying with her crew in the cargo bay. They were all alive but tied up. Vexcal stood over them. He held a device in his clawed hand. "Look at you," he said, "defeated in minutes. And now the galaxy will watch. I am broadcasting this to all nearby systems. Everyone will see what happens when humans try to resist the Gentar Collective." Vexcal turned to face a camera that one of his soldiers held. "Let this be a lesson to all the weak species of this galaxy. The Gentar take what we want. We do not negotiate. We do not show mercy. Resist us and this is your fate." Elena tried to speak, but her chest hurt too much. Blood was on her uniform. Marcus was unconscious beside her. Chen was crying quietly. But through the pain, Elena held on to one thought. The beacon was active. The message had gone out. Someone would receive it. Someone would know what happened here. She did not know if help would come. She did not know if rescue was possible. But she knew one thing about humans. When one of their own was hurt, they all felt it. When one of their ships was attacked, they remembered. The Gentar thought humans were weak. They thought this attack would frighten other humans away. But they had made a terrible mistake. They had not killed the crew. They had taken them alive, and they had broadcast their crime. Elena closed her eyes. Her last thought before unconsciousness took her was simple. The Gentar had no idea what was coming. They had poked the sleeping bear, and the bear was about to wake up. The emergency beacon's signal traveled faster than light itself. It jumped through quantum space, reaching dozens of human stations at the same moment. On Earth, in Geneva, deep beneath the mountains, a red light started blinking. Admiral Marcus Chen sat at his desk reviewing supply reports. He was a large man with gray hair and a face marked by 40 years of military service. When the red light appeared on his wall screen, he immediately stopped what he was doing. Red lights meant emergency. Red lights meant people were in trouble. He touched the screen. Data flooded in. Ship name Wandering Star. Captain Elena Reeves. Location Frontier Route 7. Status under attack. Marcus felt his blood turn cold. He knew Elena, she was his niece. He had taught her to fly when she was young. Now her ship was in danger and he was hundreds of light years away. More data appeared. The attackers had identified themselves. The Gentar Collective. Marcus pulled up everything the military had on this species. There was not much. The Gentar lived in a region of space humans rarely visited. They were raiders, pirates. But they had never attacked a human ship before until now. "Get me fleet command. Priority 1, Marcus said to his computer. "Wake everyone up. I don't care what time it is." Within minutes, faces appeared on screens around his desk. Admirals and generals from every human colony. They all looked worried. "You've all seen the beacon signal?" Marcus asked. "We have," said Admiral Park, a woman with short white hair. "The Wandering Star, medical vessel, civilian crew. The Gentar disabled it with an EMP weapon and boarded." "There's more," said General Williams. He was young for a general, only in his 40s. "The aliens are broadcasting the attack. They're showing it to nearby systems. They want everyone to see what they did." Marcus felt anger grow in his chest. "Show me." The screen changed. Marcus saw his niece. Elena was bleeding. Her crew was tied up. The alien commander stood over them, speaking to a camera. The alien talked about human weakness, about how easily they were defeated, about how other species should fear the Gentar. "How long ago was this?" Marcus asked. His voice was very quiet. The other officers knew this meant he was extremely angry. 18 minutes, Admiral Park said. "The signal just reached us. By quantum beacon, we can respond in days. By conventional ships, weeks. The Galactic Council is already calling, General Williams added. They want to speak with us about this incident. Put them on, Marcus said. A new face appeared. This one belonged to Ambassador Rethel, a spider-like alien who represented the Galactic Council. The ambassador had 8 eyes and a mouth that moved sideways. Admiral Chen, Rethel said, we have seen the unfortunate incident with your vessel. The Council urges restraint. The Gentar are dangerous, yes, but military action could start a larger conflict. We recommend diplomatic channels. Marcus stared at the ambassador. Diplomatic channels. You want us to negotiate with raiders who attacked an unarmed medical ship? The galaxy must maintain peace, Rethel said. The Gentar have raided many species over the years. All of us have lost ships, but we have learned to avoid their territory. It is safer to give them space than to fight. So you do nothing, Marcus said. You let them attack whoever they want. We survive, Rethel answered. That is what matters. The Council cannot help you if you start a war over one ship. Marcus ended the call. The ambassador's face disappeared. The other human officers waited. They knew Marcus. They knew he was thinking. Planning. Pull up the Terran Doctrine, Marcus said finally. The room went quiet. Everyone knew what the Terran Doctrine was. It was humanity's secret military protocol. A plan made decades ago when humans first went to space. A plan based on one simple idea. If anyone attacks Earth or its people, the response must be overwhelming. Fast. Total. The attack must hurt so badly that no one ever tries it again. The doctrine had never been used before. Until now, are you sure? Admiral Park asked. The doctrine means full military mobilization. Every fleet, every ship. Once we start, we cannot stop halfway. They took my niece, Marcus said. They took 12 civilians who were delivering medicine to colonists. They beat them. They broadcast it as entertainment. And they think we will do nothing. The other species do nothing, General Williams said. The Galactic Council does nothing. Maybe the Gentar think we're like them. Then they're wrong, Marcus said. Activate the Terran Doctrine. I want every available fleet moving within the hour. Navigation teams plot jumps to Gentar space. Intelligence teams find their bases, their ships, their planets. I want to know everything. What about the Council? Admiral Park asked. We'll tell them after we move, Marcus said. This is not their decision. This is ours. Someone attacked our people. We respond. Orders went out across human space. On military bases near Mars, soldiers ran to their ships. In orbit around Titan, battleships powered up their engines. Near the colony of New Shanghai, 3 carrier groups started preparing for quantum jumps. The human military had been quiet for years. Peaceful. Trading and exploring. Other species thought humans were like the Galactic Council. Afraid of conflict, choosing safety over action. They were about to learn the truth. In his office, Marcus looked at the frozen image of Elena on his screen. Her face was covered in blood. Her eyes were closed. But she was alive. The medical readouts from her suit showed her heart was still beating. Hold on, Marcus whispered. We're coming. He opened a communication channel. It was set to broadcast across all frequencies. Every species in the region would hear it, including the Gentar. Marcus spoke slowly and clearly. This is Admiral Marcus Chen of the Earth Defense Fleet. 23 minutes ago, the Gentar Collective attacked and captured the human vessel Wandering Star. 12 civilians are being held hostage. The Gentar have 24 hours to return all crew members unharmed. If they do this, we will discuss this incident through diplomatic means. He paused. When he spoke again, his voice was harder. If the deadline passes and our people are not returned safely, we will consider this an act of war. The Earth Defense Fleet will respond with all available force. This is not a negotiation. This is a warning. You have 24 hours. The message went out. Across the galaxy, species heard it. Some laughed. Some felt worried. The Galactic Council sent urgent messages asking Earth to reconsider. The Gentar commander Vexcal received the message on his ship. He was still near the Wandering Star, still holding the human crew prisoner. He listened to Marcus's warning. Then he left. 24 hours, Vexcal said to his officers. The humans threaten us with war over one small ship. They know nothing of war. We have crushed dozens of species. What can these soft creatures do to the might of the Gentar Collective? His officers laughed with him. They had seen how easily the human crew was defeated. 12 people with primitive weapons. It had been like stepping on insects. Send a response, Vexcal ordered. Tell the humans their deadline means nothing. Tell them we will keep their people as long as we wish. If they want war, we welcome it. The Gentar have never lost a battle. The response went out. Across human space, people heard it. They heard the Gentar laugh at them, mock them, treat their warning as a joke. In military headquarters around Earth, officers checked their weapons. Soldiers climbed into combat armor. Ship captains ran final system checks. The 24-hour deadline was not for the Gentar. It was for humanity. Time to get ready. Time to move ships into position. Time to prepare for what came next. Marcus Chen did not sleep that night. He sat in his office and watched the countdown. 24 hours, 23, 22. Each hour that passed brought more ships into position. More weapons online. More Marines ready to deploy. At the 23-hour mark, Admiral Park entered his office. All fleets report ready. We have 7 battle groups in position around Gentar space. Special operations teams are prepared for the rescue mission. Intelligence has located the Wandering Star. She's being held near a Gentar military outpost. Good, Marcus said. And the crew? Still alive. The Gentar are keeping them in the cargo bay. They haven't killed anyone yet. They're showing them off to other species as prizes. Marcus nodded slowly. The Gentar thought the humans were trophies. Proof of their power. They had no idea they were about to become an example themselves. The deadline reached 0. Nothing happened for 1 minute. The Gentar laughed. See, they said to each other. The humans were bluffing. They were weak like the other species. All talk and no action. Then the human fleets jumped into Gentar space. 7 locations. All at once, the war had begun. The Gentar sensor stations detected the human ships at the same moment across 7 different star systems. At first, the Gentar operators thought it was a sensor error. So many ships could not appear at once. But the readings were real. Hundreds of human warships had jumped into Gentar territory simultaneously. They appeared in perfect formation around military bases, supply depots, and communication stations. The coordination was flawless. The timing was exact. On his ship near the Wandering Star, Commander Vexcal received urgent messages from all 7 locations. His 4 eyes widened as he read the reports. This cannot be correct. The humans have no military force this large. Our intelligence said they were merchants and explorers. The readings are confirmed, his second officer said. The fear in her voice was clear. They have battleships, carriers, cruisers, weapons we have never seen before. Commander, they are targeting all our border defenses. Vexcal felt something he rarely experienced. Doubt, but he pushed it away. The Gentar collective had conquered 17 species. They had won hundreds of battles. Humans could not be different. All ships, combat positions. Prepare to engage the human fleet, he ordered. Show them what happens when they challenge the Gentar. At Outpost 7, the first real battle began. 50 Gentar warships faced 200 human vessels. The Gentar commander opened fire immediately. Their plasma cannons lit up space with green energy. The human ships did not dodge. They did not scatter. They maintained formation, and their shields absorbed the plasma fire. Then they returned fire with weapons the Gentar had never encountered. Rail guns. Magnetic accelerators that fired solid metal slugs at incredible speeds. The rounds moved so fast that Gentar shields meant nothing. The metal punched straight through. 3 Gentar ships exploded in the first volley. 5 more were crippled and drifting. Impossible, the Gentar commander screamed. Those are primitive kinetic weapons. How can they penetrate our shields? His science officer checked the readings. Sir, the projectiles are traveling at 0.2 light speed. At that velocity, shields cannot stop them. The kinetic energy is too high. The human ships fired again, and again. Each volley destroyed more Gentar vessels. The aliens tried to return fire, but the range was too great. Human weapons could shoot from distances where Gentar plasma cannons were useless. Within 10 minutes, Outpost 7 was silent. Every Gentar ship was destroyed or disabled. The human fleet had not lost a single vessel. At the other 6 locations, the story was the same. The Gentar fought hard. They were experienced warriors. They used tactics that had worked against dozens of other species. But humans fought differently. Human ships moved in perfect coordination. They shared targeting data instantly. When one ship was damaged, Others immediately adjusted to cover it. Their weapons fired with computer precision. Every shot counted. Every attack had a purpose. But the space battle was not the main objective. The real mission was the rescue. Commander Sarah Park led the Special Operations Team. She was 40 years old, a veteran of 20 combat missions. Her team of 30 Marines was the best Earth had. They wore powered armor that made them strong and fast. Their weapons could switch between lethal and non-lethal modes in a split second. Park's ship approached the wandering star from behind a moon. The Gentar were distracted by the fleet battle. They never saw the small ship coming. "All right, people, listen up," Park said to her team. "Our objective is simple. Get the crew out alive. We know the Gentar have approximately 40 soldiers on that ship. We are 30, but we have surprise, superior training, and better equipment. Plus, they hurt our people, so we are very motivated." The Marines checked their weapons. Each face was hard and focused. They had seen the broadcast of Elena and her crew. They had seen the way the Gentar mocked them. Now it was time for payback. The insertion was silent. Park's team cut through the wandering star's hull with plasma torches. They entered the ship in 3 groups. No alarm sounded. The Gentar were celebrating their apparent victory over the human fleet. They thought they were safe. Park's team moved through the ship like ghosts. Their armor had active camouflage. They could see the Gentar, but the aliens could not see them. The first group of Gentar soldiers died before they even knew humans were there. Precise shots to the head. The Marines moved on immediately. The second group of aliens heard something and raised their weapons. But the Marines were faster. Stun grenades exploded, blinding the Gentar. Then the Marines were among them, fighting hand to hand. The powered armor gave the humans superhuman strength. A Marine could punch through Gentar armor, could bend metal with their hands, could lift a full-grown alien and throw them across a room. The fighting was brutal and quick. The Gentar were skilled fighters. They had natural advantages like sharp claws and armored scales. But the Marines had trained for years. They had studied every alien species in the region. They knew where to hit, where to cut, how to kill efficiently. Vexcal heard the fighting over his communicator. "What is happening?" "Report! Humans! On the ship! They're everywhere! We need backup!" His soldiers screamed. Then the screaming stopped. Park reached the cargo bay where the human crew was held. 6 Gentar guards stood watch over the prisoners. When the guards heard the fighting, they grabbed weapons and pointed them at Elena and her crew. "The humans are coming for you," one guard said, "but you will die before they reach you." The cargo bay door exploded inward. Marines poured through, weapons raised. But the Gentar guards were already moving, fingers on triggers, about to execute the prisoners. They never got the chance. Park's rifle spoke 4 times. 4 guards dropped instantly, perfect shots between their eyes. The other 2 guards turned to fire at her. 2 more Marines shot them from the side. The guards fell. 5 seconds. That was how long it took to clear the room. Park ran to Elena. The captain was barely conscious. Her wounds had been treated poorly and she was weak from blood loss. But she was alive. "We've got you, ma'am," Park said, cutting the ropes. "You're going home." Elena tried to speak but could only whisper. "My crew, we're getting all of them." "Every single one," Park promised. She signaled to the medics. "Get them to the ship. Fast but careful." The Marines carried the crew members out. Some had to be sedated because their injuries were too painful. Marcus was still unconscious. Chen was crying with relief. All 12 were accounted for. All 12 were alive. As they evacuated, Park's team encountered Vexcal himself. The Gentar commander stood in a corridor with 10 of his best soldiers. They wore heavier armor and carried bigger weapons. "Humans," Vexcal growled. "You dare board my ship? I will tear you apart with my own claws." Park stared at him through her helmet. "You attacked unarmed civilians. You beat them. You broadcast it like entertainment. Now you face soldiers. See the difference," Vexcal roared and charged. His soldiers followed. The corridor erupted in weapons fire and violence. Plasma bolts hit Marine armor. Bullets and energy beams flew in both directions. 2 Marines went down, their armor breached. But they were not dead, only wounded. The Gentar fought with desperate fury. They were cornered and they knew it. But the Marines fought with cold precision. Every movement was practiced. Every shot was calculated. When a Gentar raised a weapon, a Marine shot them. When an alien tried to use their claws, armored fists broke their bones. Vexcal himself was strong and fast. He managed to close with Park and slash at her armor with his claws. The claws scraped metal but did not penetrate. Park grabbed his arm and twisted. Something in the alien's shoulder broke with a wet snap. Vexcal screamed. Park smashed her armored helmet into his face once, twice, 3 times. Vexcal dropped to the floor, bleeding from multiple wounds. He was still alive, but he could not fight anymore. "Secure him," Park ordered. "He's coming with us." The Marines dragged the unconscious Vexcal toward their ship. The few remaining Gentar soldiers fled. The battle was over. Park's team returned to their vessel with all the human crew and their prize prisoner. As they undocked from the Wandering Star, Park looked back at the damaged merchant ship. "Mark this position. We'll send a recovery team later." In space around them, the battle was ending. The Gentar fleet was destroyed. Human ships held position around 7 different Gentar installations. The aliens had tried to fight. They had used every tactic they knew. But nothing worked against the humans. On Earth, Admiral Marcus Chen received the report. "Sir, all objectives achieved. 0 casualties on our side. Minimal wounded. The Wandering Star crew is safe. They're being evacuated to the medical ship. Commander Vexcal has been captured." Marcus let out a breath he had been holding for hours. His niece was safe. The crew was safe. "What are our losses?" 3 ships with minor damage. 12 Marines with non-critical injuries. "That's all, sir." Marcus allowed himself a small smile. The Gentar had thought humans were weak, soft, easy prey. They had attacked a medical ship expecting no consequences. Now they knew the truth. Humans could be peaceful. Humans could be merchants and explorers and scientists. But humans could also be warriors. And when someone hurt their own, humans became something terrifying. "Maintain positions around all Gentar installations," Marcus ordered. "Send a message to the Gentar government. Tell them we want to talk. Tell them we have their commander. And tell them if they harm any other human, anywhere at any time, what happened today will seem like mercy." The message went out. Across the galaxy, other species watched in shock. The Gentar Collective, the raiders who had terrorized dozens of civilizations, had been crushed in hours by a species everyone thought was harmless. The humans had shown their teeth, and the galaxy would not forget. 3 human battle fleets now surrounded the Gentar homeworld. The planet looked beautiful from orbit. Blue oceans covered half the surface. Green continents spread across the rest. Cities glowed with lights. But the planet's beauty did not matter now. What mattered was that the Gentar leadership was there, and they had a decision to make. Admiral Marcus Chen stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Determination. Through the main window, he could see the Gentar homeworld turning slowly below. Around him, his fleet held position. Weapons were armed. Shields were up. But no one was firing. Not yet. "Sir, we're receiving a transmission from the Galactic Council," his communications officer said. Marcus nodded. "Put them on." Ambassador Rethal appeared on the screen. The spider-like alien looked more nervous than before. "Admiral Chen, the Council has been monitoring your military actions. We must protest this aggressive behavior. You have invaded Gentar space. You have destroyed their ships. You have captured their commander. This is exactly the kind of conflict we warned you about." "They attacked us first," Marcus said calmly. "They captured civilians. They broadcast it as entertainment." Yes, we understand you are upset," Rethal said, his mandibles clicking. "But you have made your point. You have shown your military strength. Now you should withdraw before this situation gets worse. The Gentar will not forget this humiliation. They will seek revenge. Let them try," Marcus said. "We'll be ready." "You do not understand," Rethal insisted. "The Gentar have millions of soldiers. Thousands of ships. Yes, you won the first battle. But a long war will cost you everything. The Council recommends you accept a negotiated peace," returned the commander. "Pay a tribute. The Gentar might accept this." Marcus felt his anger rising. "Pay them? You want us to pay the people who attacked our ship? Who hurt our crew? It is the practical solution," Rethal said. "Pride is not worth dying for. The other species have learned this. You should too." "Thank you for your advice, Ambassador," Marcus said. His voice was ice cold. "But we will handle this ourselves. Earth will not pay tribute to raiders. Earth will not negotiate from weakness. If the Galactic Council wants to remain neutral, that is your choice. But do not ask us to surrender to criminals." He cut the transmission. The ambassador's face disappeared. "Sir, we have another transmission," the communications officer said. This one is from the Gentar High Command. Put it on. The face that appeared was female Gentar. She was older than Vexcal with scars across her scales. Her 4 eyes were cold and calculating. I am High Commander Draktha. I lead the Gentar Collective Military Forces. You are holding Commander Vexcal. You will return him immediately. No, Marcus said simply. Draktha's eyes narrowed. You refuse? Do you understand the consequences? We have 300 warships ready to deploy. We have ground armies that have conquered 17 worlds. You won a single battle. Do not think this makes you invincible. Then attack us, Marcus challenged. Send your 300 ships. We'll be waiting. But know this. For every shot you fire, we will respond with 10. For every human you hurt, we will hurt 100 Gentar. We did not want this war. You started it. But we will finish it. You are making a mistake, Draktha said. The mistake was already made, Marcus replied. When your commander attacked an unarmed medical ship. When he beat civilians and showed it to the galaxy. That was the mistake. Now you pay the price. Before Draktha could respond, Marcus signaled to another officer. Send the data package. Information flooded to the Gentar High Command. Files, records, evidence. It was all the research human intelligence had gathered about Gentar raids. 47 different attacks against various species over the past 20 years. Ships destroyed. People killed or enslaved. Cargo stolen. Each incident was documented with dates, locations, and victims. We know what you've done, Marcus said. Not just to us. To everyone. The Galactic Council does nothing. The other species are too afraid to act. But we are not afraid. We demand justice. Not just for our crew. For all your victims. Draktha stared at the data scrolling across her screen. What do you want? Full reparations to every species you've raided. Return of all prisoners you still hold. Dismantling of your raider fleets. And prosecution of the commanders responsible, starting with Vexcal, Marcus listed. Do this and we will withdraw. Refuse and we will enforce these terms ourselves. You are insane, Draktha said. The Gentar Collective will never surrender to your demands. We are warriors. We do not bow to threats. Then let me show you what happens when we stop threatening and start acting, Marcus said. He nodded to his weapons officer. Target the outer moon. The uninhabited one. Fire Solution Alpha. Sir, Solution Alpha is armed and ready, the weapons officer confirmed. Fire. From orbit around the Gentar homeworld, 3 human ships adjusted their positions. They aimed at one of the planet's moons. A small rocky satellite with no atmosphere and no life. The Gentar had mining operations there once, but they had been abandoned for years. The railguns fired. Dozens of solid metal slugs launched at incredible velocity. They impacted the moon one after another in a precisely calculated pattern. Each impact released the energy of a small nuclear weapon. The moon's surface exploded. Chunks of rock flew into space. Within 30 seconds, the entire satellite was breaking apart. The Gentar homeworld watched in horror as their moon was destroyed. It had been there for millions of years, a permanent fixture in their sky. Now it was debris spreading across orbit. On the screen, Draktha's face showed shock. True fear showed in her 4 eyes. You destroyed a moon. An uninhabited moon, Marcus clarified. No one died. But we wanted you to understand something. This is a fraction of our capability. A demonstration using a tiny percentage of our fleet's weapons. If we wanted to, we could reduce every Gentar military installation to rubble. We could blockade your worlds until your economy collapsed. We could turn your warships into scrap metal. 6 months had passed since the Gentar incident. The galaxy had changed in ways no one expected. Captain Elena Reeves stood on the bridge of her ship. It was the Wandering Star, rebuilt and better than before. The old merchant vessel had been repaired with military-grade systems. New engines, better shields, advanced communication equipment. The ship that had been helpless before was now capable of defending itself. Elena touched the scar on her chest. It still hurt sometimes. The doctors said the pain might never fully go away. But she did not mind. The scar reminded her of what happened, reminded her why she kept flying. Captain, we're approaching New Hope Colony, Chen said from the navigation station. He had recovered well. His physical injuries had healed. The mental ones took longer, but he was getting better. They all were. Good, Elena said. Let's deliver these supplies and get home. The cargo hold was full again. Medical supplies, food, construction materials. The outer colonies needed these things. and Elena was proud to deliver them. This was her job. This was what she did. Raiders and wars did not change that. As they approached the colony, Elena noticed something different. A patrol ship appeared on their sensors. It was human military, a small but powerful vessel designed to protect merchant routes. "Wandering Star, this is Patrol Ship Guardian," a voice said over the radio. "We have you on sensors. Is everything okay?" Elena smiled. "Guardian, this is Captain Reeves. All systems normal. Just making a delivery." "Understood, Captain. Safe travels. We'll be here if you need anything." The patrol ship maintained distance but stayed visible. Ever since the Gentar incident, human military ships patrolled all major trade routes. No merchant vessel traveled alone anymore. No human was left unprotected. At New Hope Colony, the settlers came out to greet the Wandering Star. They had heard about what happened to Elena and her crew. Everyone had heard. The story had spread across human space and beyond. "Captain Reeves," an old woman called out, "we're so glad you're still flying. After what those aliens did to you, we thought you might retire." Elena helped unload the cargo. "Retire? And let them win? No way. They wanted to scare us. Wanted to make humans afraid to travel. I won't give them that satisfaction." The settlers cheered. That was the human spirit. When knocked down, humans got back up. When hurt, they healed and returned stronger. The Gentar had tried to break human confidence. Instead, they had made it harder than steel. Across the galaxy, the effects of the Gentar defeat continued to spread. In the Gentar home system, work crews dismantled warships under human supervision. The raider fleets that had terrorized dozens of species for decades were being cut apart. The metal would be recycled, used for peaceful purposes. Commander Vexcal, the alien who had attacked the Wandering Star, now worked on a human relief station. He was no longer a commander, no longer a warrior. He was a laborer, cleaning floors and moving cargo. His armor was gone. His weapons were gone. His pride was gone. Every day Vexcal saw human workers. They did not torture him, did not mock him. They simply treated him as what he was, a prisoner doing work to pay his debt to society. Sometimes human children visited the station with their parents. They would stare at Vexcal, the scary alien from the news stories. But the children were not afraid. They knew the humans had won. They knew they were safe. Vexcal hated every moment, but he had no choice. His people had surrendered. His government had agreed to these terms. He would serve his sentence. And every day he remembered how easy it had been to attack the Wandering Star, how he had laughed at human weakness, how wrong he had been. On Earth, Admiral Marcus Chen met with representatives from other species. The Galactic Council had invited Earth to join as a full member, not as a minor participant, as one of the leadership positions. The same council that had told humans to show restraint now wanted human protection. "Admiral Chen," Ambassador Rethel said, "the spider-like alien seemed smaller than before, less confident. The council has reviewed your application. We would be honored to have Earth join us. Your military strength and decisive action have proven valuable to galactic stability." Marcus raised an eyebrow. "6 months ago, you told us to negotiate with the Gentar, to pay tribute. Now you want us to join your leadership?" Rethel's mandibles clicked nervously. "The council admits we were wrong. We had grown accustomed to avoiding conflict, to accepting raids and attacks as normal. You showed us another way, a better way. The Gentar attacks have stopped completely. Other aggressive species have become peaceful. Your strength has brought more stability to the galaxy than diplomacy achieved in decades. What changed your mind?" Marcus asked. He knew the answer but wanted to hear it. "Fear," Rethel said honestly. "Fear of what happens if we do not have humans as allies. The galaxy is dangerous, Admiral. There are threats beyond the Gentar, species that make them look peaceful. The Council needs strong members, members willing to act when action is necessary." Marcus considered this. Earth did not need the Galactic Council. Humans had proven they could handle their own problems. But being part of the Council gave Earth influence, a voice in galactic affairs, and it meant other species would think twice before attacking humans or their allies. "We accept," Marcus said. "But on our terms, Earth will not follow Council policy blindly. If we see injustice, we will act. If we see aggression, we will respond. The days of doing nothing while raiders attack innocent species are over." "We understand," Rethel said. "And we welcome the change. The news spread quickly. Earth was now a major power in galactic politics. The peaceful merchants and explorers from a small blue planet had become leaders, protectors, warriors when necessary, diplomats when possible. Not everyone was happy about this. Some species worried about human military strength. They remembered Earth's history. The wars humans had fought against each other, the weapons they had created. What if humans decided to conquer instead of protect? But those fears faded over time, because humans kept their word. They protected trade routes. They stopped raiders. They helped species that asked for help, but they did not invade, did not conquer, did not force their way of life on others. Earth had power, but Earth used that power responsibly. One day, 6 months after the incident, a new ship entered human space. It was from a species called the Cricks. The Cricks were traders, peaceful and cautious. Their ship approached a human merchant vessel slowly, broadcasting friendly signals. The human ship, a cargo hauler named Steady Progress, received the signal. The captain, a young man named James, responded immediately. "Crick's vessel, this is Captain James of the Steady Progress. Welcome to human space. How can we help you?" The Crick's captain appeared on screen. She looked nervous. "Captain James, we wish to establish trade relations, but we must ask, is it safe? We have heard stories about human military strength, about what you did to the Gentar. We do not want trouble." James smiled warmly. "You have nothing to fear. We only fight when attacked. You're traitors, we're traitors. We should get along fine. Come, let me show you to the nearest trade station. We have goods you might like. Coffee, chocolate, music, art. Humans make a lot of things besides weapons." The Crick ship followed at a respectful distance. Not too close, not threatening, just careful. And as they traveled together, the Crick's captain relaxed. She saw that human merchants were friendly, professional, fair in their dealings. Word spread among the trading species. Humans were safe to work with. Unless you attack them, then they became nightmares. But for peaceful traders, humans were excellent partners. This was exactly what Earth wanted. To be known as friends to the peaceful and enemies to the violent. To be the species others could trust to do the right thing. On the rebuilt Wandering Star, Elena finished her delivery and prepared to return home. She looked at her crew, Chen at navigation, Marcus at engineering. All of them had survived. All of them had healed. They were stronger now, tougher, but still the same people who loved flying through space, meeting new species, and delivering supplies to those who needed them. "Set course for Earth," Elena ordered. "Let's go home." As the Wandering Star jumped to faster-than-light speed, Elena thought about the future. The galaxy was vast, dangerous, full of species both friendly and hostile. But humans had proven something important. They had shown that peaceful does not mean weak, that preferring trade does not mean fearing war. Humans had been tested, and they had passed. Somewhere in deep space, another alien species was planning raids. Another group of pirates was targeting merchant ships. But now they checked their targets carefully. They made sure the ships were not human, because if you attacked a human, the response was overwhelming. Fast, unstoppable. One human ship might seem like an easy target, but behind that one ship stood billions of humans. Thousands of warships, weapons that could destroy moons, and a will that would not break. The Gentar had learned this lesson the hard way. They had poked the sleeping bear, and the bear had torn them apart. Now the galaxy knew. Earth was no longer just another species. Earth was a power, a force to be respected, and humans would protect their own with everything they had. In the Galactic Council chambers, a new plaque was installed. It bore the emblem of Earth and a simple message: peace through strength. Mercy to the merciful, justice to the cruel. This was humanity's promise to the galaxy. Be peaceful and humans would trade with you, help you, and be your friend. But attack the innocent and humans would stop you. No matter how strong you thought you were, no matter how many victories you had won before, because humans remembered their own violent history. They knew what it was like to be both victim and warrior. And they had decided long ago, never again would they be helpless. Never again would they fail to protect their own. The Wandering Star reached Earth orbit. Elena looked at the blue planet through the view screen. Home. Beautiful and peaceful. But defended by a military that could destroy entire fleets, protected by people who would never surrender, she smiled. We're home, everyone. And we're safe. Because no one will dare attack us again, she was right. In the 6 months since the Gentar incident, not a single human ship had been attacked. Not one. The galaxy had learned its lesson. Humans were not conquerors. Humans were not cruel. Humans were not violent by nature. But humans were absolutely not weak. And anyone who forgot that paid a terrible price. The Gentar had targeted a lone human ship. They had provoked humanity. They had thought it would be easy. They had thought humans would do nothing. They had been wrong. And they had regretted it instantly. The galaxy would not make that mistake again.